Hello, this is architect Damim Ansari from Ansari Architects. And in today's episode, we are going to see the common kitchen mistakes. Come, let's see them one by one. Today, we are going to see what are the common mistakes in a kitchen people do and the biggest kitchen mistakes you should never make. Let us start with the planning mistakes. The door to the kitchen should never be placed in the corner. It should be ideally at least 2 feet away from the corner. Only then the corner spaces of the kitchen will be utilized properly. It can be in the center of the wall also. You must have heard about what is called the work triangle of a kitchen, the triangle which connects the placement of the hob, the sink, and the fridge. This has to be perfectly designed in such a way that the minimum length of the triangle should be 13 feet and the maximum it should not cross 26 feet. So when the work triangle becomes more than 26 feet, then the person who is cooking is going to walk a long distance between these placements, and they will get tired so easily. So this is very important. And each leg of the triangle ideally should not be more than 9 feet and should not be less than 4 feet. In India, commonly we try to take the fridge out of the kitchen. They place it in the dining, but that is not correct. It will increase the length of the work triangle. Always place the fridge inside the kitchen. When you are designing for the kitchen, please know that depth of the fridge is almost 2.5 feet. So easily 2 feet 3 inches, and you have to keep at least 3 inches behind the fridge for ventilation purpose. So easily 2.5 feet. So the fridge is going to project at least 6 inches beyond the cabinet depth. This most of the time people forget it. Based on this, you have to design your placement of the fridge. Even if you don't have a bigger fridge now, always plan for a bigger fridge like 600 to 700 liters. In future, you may go for a bigger fridge. So, for 700-liter fridge requires 4 feet of space. Please remember you have to provide 4 feet width of space for the fridge. Utility area in a kitchen is very important. Please don't avoid it. Utility will be the extension of the kitchen, and it is in fact the most used part of the kitchen. You are going to have washing machines there, and you are going to have large sink to wash the utensils which cannot be washed inside the kitchen, and you are going to have the floor cabinets also there and wall cabinets also. In fact, utilities sometimes become the wet kitchen. In some of the kitchens that we design, we provide facility for cooking. So the rough cooking and the cooking which creates most smoke are done in the utility area by the servants mostly, so that the kitchen inside the kitchen, the modular kitchen that you do nicely is most of the time, it is not being used roughly, and it is maintained pristine clean. The utility will also be used for clothes drying, so you can have the cloth hanging strings above the utility which can be pulled above. So that system is easily available nowadays. Try to provide at least minimum counter length of 12 feet floor counter length, and the wall cabinet at least minimum of 8 feet length of wall cabinet. Most of the time what people do is they place windows, large windows and all that. You are not able to get good size wall cabinets. That is a mistake. Wall cabinets are such a useful item in kitchen. You have to achieve at least 8 feet of wall cabinet at the minimum. Don't provide island kitchen in a small kitchen area. That is a disastrous mistake. For providing island kitchen, you require at least 13 feet width of the kitchen. On either side of the island, you require at least 42 inches. So that is possible only in 13 feet width of the kitchen. Another mistake people make is not providing enough plug points and not providing 15 amps plug points also. You should have ideally a kitchen above the kitchen floor cabinet. You should have at least 6 plug points. This is apart from the plug points you require for hob ignition and the chimney and the fridge, etc. This is just above the kitchen counter. You require at least 6 plug points, and almost all the plug points you can have as 15 amps. Another major mistake people make is the height of the floor cabinet. It is decided based on what type of hob you go for. If you go for built-in recessed hob, the height of the floor cabinet should be 34 inches. And if you are going for above counter stove, you should reduce about 2 inches from this, so it will be about 32 inches. Please don't go beyond this height. This is designed for Indian cooking, Indian ergonomics. This is very important. And the gap between the floor cabinet and the wall cabinet should be ideally minimum 22 inches and maximum 24 inches. The floor cabinet should be 24 inches in depth. It should not be more, it should not be less. And the wall cabinet should be 15 inches in depth. This will provide for proper viewing angle of counter space. In this video, not only we are going to discuss the what you should not do, I will also tell you what you should do. Another major mistake people do is the wrong placement of the lights. The lights generally are placed in the false ceiling of the kitchen. The light should be placed in such a way that it casts lighting on the kitchen counter. So you should not place the light behind the person, which will cast shadows on the floor cabinet. Then the task will become difficult. So the light should be placed in such a way that it is in front of the person who is standing and cooking. So ideally it is directly above the floor cabinet. In the false ceiling, do not use cove lights which collect dirt and dust. Very difficult to clean in the kitchen. But you can use strip lights which are exposed rather than kept in the cove. Another major thing is the wrong placement of windows. You should never place the window behind the stove. First thing, the wind from the window will never allow the fire to burn properly. Next is you will not be able to provide the chimney above the stove, and it will be very difficult to maintain that kind of a window because there will be always oil which is spilling out of the cooking, and the window will be eternally dirty. So please avoid placing the windows directly behind the stove, and don't have too many windows in a kitchen, because in kitchen the wall area is the most important thing where you should have the wall cabinets. So when you have large windows and too many windows, the wall cabinet area drastically reduces the effectiveness of the kitchen. So try to have minimum number of windows, and ideally the windows are placed behind the sink. This is the area you need to have more ventilation and lighting, and much more drier. When you place the window, don't have a tall window which is coming up to the top of the kitchen counter. That is a big mistake. The window should start at least 1 foot above the kitchen counter so that you can have plug points and it will be easy for maintenance. Don't have the windows with too many frames, like too many horizontal frames. This will make the windows very difficult to maintain. Now let us see what are the kitchen finishing mistakes. Please don't use the vegetable motifs and the cookware motifs which were commonly used 15-20 years ago, which makes your kitchen look very outdated. Please have a simple white and light color clean shadow on the wall above the counter. Some people try to use the artificial marble look-alike dado on the wall, most of the time, which also looks fake and doesn't so go very well. The best color, the best material is the plain, simple, glossy white G5 nano white, which is easier for you to maintain, and also joints are much less compared to the tiles. The jambs of the windows and the doors have to be, please don't leave them bare. They have to be finished with the same material that you are using for counter. It's either granite or the quartz or nano white. You should use the same material on the jambs. The finish will be much neater and it will be easier for you to maintain the kitchen. And if you can afford, don't leave the walls, kitchen walls, rest of the walls apart from the cabinets, don't leave them bare. Try to finish them with the tile, and don't choose glossy and very busy looking tiles. Choose very mild, the tiles which are slightly matte finished, which almost look like a wall. They are the best for this kind of purpose. The idea is not to show the design of a wall. The idea is to make the wall almost look like a plain, simple wall, so that the color of your cabinets and the design of your cabinets come out better rather than the wall itself. For the kitchen counters, never choose marble, which absorbs oil and turmeric. And also when you choose granite, people sometimes make mistake of choosing the light color granite. The dark color granite also absorbs oil, but it will not be seen. The light color granite absorbs oil and turmeric, it will be immediately seen. That is a disastrous mistake people can make. So please avoid light color granites when you choose granite. If you want a lighter color material, go for quartz, which doesn't absorb oil or doesn't absorb any color. Also, avoid using solid surface materials like Korean, which are not suitable for Indian condition, because the joints, when they are close to the stove and the hob, they tend to crack after some time due to excessive heat which is used in the Indian kitchens. Let's talk about the color scheme. Don't use too bright and colors which are too gaudy. They are out of fashion. Use muted white, grays and muted beige colors which are more trendy and they look more contemporary. Don't use uncoordinated colors which don't match with each other, which will make your kitchen look busy, and the ultimate result will not be good. The color inside the cabinet should be light gray. Don't make it white, it will be very difficult for you to maintain the inside the cabinets. It should be light gray. Don't use the kitchen cabinet doors which have too many projecting surfaces. Not only these are very old fashioned, and also these collect dirt and dust and very difficult to maintain. The contemporary style kitchens require flat, simple, glossy cabinets which are best for the contemporary look. Don't have too many open shelves that give you a shabby appearance and also will give you too much of maintenance. Try to avoid handles in the kitchen. The latest design do not have handles. They are called handleless design. Try to go for that kind of a design. In some of the companies like Hafele and Debco, they give a concealed profile. You can use them also, but simply you can avoid the handles and provide grooves in such a way that it is easy for you to open the cabinets using those grooves. Most of our kitchen are designed that way. That gives a very clean and simple look, and also easy for you to maintain, because the handle projections also give you a lot of maintenance issues. If you have to provide handles, go for very sleek ones. Don't go for decorative ones, which also again collect dirt and which don't go with the contemporary style kitchen. Avoid having bifold hinges. In our experience, these are expensive, not only expensive, and also give maintenance problem later. Instead, you can have two horizontal doors with independent hydraulic hinges. They last much longer. When you design the false ceiling for the kitchen, try to have as simple as possible. In fact, the false ceiling is done for the purpose of concealing the lights. The kitchen is a simple flat false ceiling. If you want to have minimum design, you just try to have some single step or so. Don't have too complicated designs, and do not have cove ceilings which collect dirt. Rather, you can have strip lights which are exposed, which give the contemporary look to the kitchen. Another biggest mistake people make is using concrete counter and laying granite on top. What happens is that in modular kitchen, the storage space below the counter is most important, and you are using tandem boxes nowadays. So these tandem boxes require certain size. When you use the concrete slab, which occupies at least, with plastering and all that, occupies at least 6 inches. So you lose lot of spaces in the tandem boxes, and those expensive tandem boxes are not being utilized to their full extent. So best is to avoid the concrete slabs and have the plywood boxes, and place the granite above them. Avoid drain board for small kitchens. Not only this looks sleek and contemporary, which also will give you a spacious look, and you get more counter length in small kitchens. Don't provide exhaust fans on the walls. People have an opinion that exhaust fans are required, but they are not required when you have a powerful chimney. So what this exhaust fan does, it takes the smoke and spreads it all around before sucking it out. Whereas the chimney will suck the smoke at the source. That is the best way. Alternatively, you can provide ducted ventilation with ducts above the hob, and you should have the duct running through the false ceiling and going to the outdoors. You can talk to your AC people; they can provide this kind of ducts with suitable exhaust fan fixed to the end of the duct. Avoid chimneys which do not provide fresh air. If you have air conditioning in kitchen, most of the time we tend to do, because kitchens are very hot and warm places, and people who are working in the kitchen tend to be very sweating and all that. So if you have air conditioning, don't place it above the stove. Place it behind the person who is cooking. That is the ideal placement for the air conditioners. So far, you are watching the common kitchen mistakes that people can do in kitchens. I hope it was useful to you. Thanks for watching this video.